Hello everyone, my name is David Mehdizadeh. I'm a senior clinical pharmacist in general practice, currently working in Doncaster, serving a practice population of 8,000 patients. And I work just in the one practice, which is a dispensing practice actually. Bit of background to this role, I finished my prescribing course at the University of Manchester back in 2017, I think it was. Or 2016, and shortly after I started this position here in general practice after leaving community pharmacy actually as a manager. I'm also a full-time PhD student at the University of Bradford as well, so currently I'm doing this role part-time. What skills are needed or essential to work successfully in GP practices? Well, firstly, it's important to note that a pharmacist is an expert in medicines, and therefore wherever there are medicines, your skills will be very useful and will be valuable. And therefore, whether it's community pharmacy, general practice, hospital, academia, your skills will be useful everywhere. So it's not a unique skill set in general practice. It's just deploying the skills in a slightly different way. And for me, my community pharmacy days were vital in terms of developing me as a pharmacist today in general practice. So essentially, being an expert in medicines, you need to have a strong knowledge of medicines and pharmaceutical care of patients, managing long-term conditions, learning NICE guidance and CKS guidance and so forth. So having a strong medicinal and clinical knowledge base, but also a strong knowledge base of the market and the supply chain. A lot of our work is ensuring medicines patients have continuity of medicines, and there are lots of supply issues at the moment. So actually having a knowledge of the pharmaceutical supply chain is really important also. And that's where the community pharmacy skills come in. Also in general practice, we require strong management skills and also prioritizations of tasks because the workload can very quickly mount up, and you have to find a way of working through that workload and prioritizing who may be, who need your services or your attention sooner than others, for example. Finally, problem-solving skills. We encounter many problems in general practice. Every day is a new day, so being versatile, being flexible, knowing where to find the answers, the literature, the resources, the BNF, the Martindale. But of course, all of those examples are skills that you would require for community pharmacy and hospital also. What impact do you think having a GP practice pharmacist has on the efficiency of the practice? Well, firsthand, I've seen our practice become a lot more efficient in the fact that the doctors can focus on the diagnosing and the acute medicine and the acute care of patients. And actually they can shift the pharmaceutical kind of workload to the pharmacy team. Medication reviews, any supply issues with medicines, where patients are suffering from side effects, when alternatives are required, when medicines need optimizing to control conditions. These are all in the hands of the pharmacist now and the pharmacy team, and therefore creating capacity within the practice. And therefore, essentially, more appointments can be offered to patients where required. So, in my opinion, it's become a lot more efficient, and actually we've improved the standard of care from a medicines perspective. The GPs are inundated with high volumes of workload, such as diagnosing and physical examinations, but as well as administrative tasks as well, referrals, discharge letters. So actually pharmacists being involved purely from the medicines element brings massive efficiencies to the practice. What do you think the future of pharmacists working in GP practices may be? Well, I think the pharmacist role will continue to evolve. I think our role as experts in medicines will continue to be cemented within the routine daily activities of general practice. However, I probably would see the pharmacist role evolving into advanced clinical pharmacist, for example, where we will be diagnosing and seeing patients, almost like an advanced nurse practitioner, or indeed a GP. I will see pharmacists being everywhere there is medicines, and I would like to see multiple pharmacists within a practice. At the moment, typically we'll see one pharmacist at best within a practice, sometimes more than that if the practice size is very large. But also typically we see pharmacists working at scale across various practices. And so I'd like to see pharmacists being embedded at least, one in each practice, if not multiple, but also technicians coming to the table and supporting the pharmacist in creating more capacity. We know technicians can be very effective in the care of patients with their medicines. I'd like to see pharmacists becoming more involved at a managerial level, being offered partnerships, for example. These kind of multidisciplinary partnerships within general practice is vital for the future of general practice as we start to see general practice evolving. So I'd like to see pharmacists coming to the table and having an opportunity to shape the future of general practice. So that's something I would personally like to see more of. But we are aware of certain cases where that's currently happening. Any advice I could share with anyone considering working in general practice? Yeah, absolutely. My advice would be to give it a go.